conference.
Lovely, Gianluca. Thank you. Thank you very much for hosting the Asteroid Day 2017 UK press conference for us live on the AstroWeb TV platform. We're very, very grateful to you, Gianluca. And thank you for joining us today. And we're based at the Space Guard Centre in Knighton in Wales, which is the home of the National Near-Earth Object Information Centre. And Jay Tate is the director, and I'll be introducing you a bit later to Jay. And I'm also joined by Max Alexander, who is the official Asteroid Day photographer, and he'll be talking to us about some of the work that he's been doing at the Chicxulub crater rim. So again, Max a little bit later on. But I really just wanted to sort of explain why we've chosen today specifically to hold the press conference, and that's because it marks the 4th anniversary of Chelyabinsk, the airburst from the asteroid that was sized between 17 to 20 meters in diameter. And although this was a relatively small asteroid, the impact effects caused injuries to over 1,500 people and damaged over 7,200 buildings across 6 cities in Western Russia. And in the past, impact events of this nature have largely gone unwitnessed. However, given the time that this event occurred during the day on the 15th of February 2013, there were a number of eyewitness reports, and one in particular, which we are going to bring to you now. She says, hopefully.
Yes.
Lovely. If you can show the witness report, Gianluca, that would be perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you.
My very pleasure. Before showing it, I want to kindly thank the people who made this, and also those who made it available, the Asteroid Day Russia, and we want to thank our good friends Ekaterina there for providing this truly, truly precious video. So I'm going to share it live right now.
Thank you.
Яркую вспышку, как будто... Здравствуйте. Меня зовут Замоздра Сергей Николаевич. Я расскажу кратко, как на Челябинск пал болид, потом метеорит. Я в это время сидел в рабочем кабинете и увидел яркую вспышку, как будто кто-то начал сварку возле моего окна. Я выглянул в окно и увидел след от какого-то объекта, который клубился, еще был горячий, поэтому светился. А поскольку я недавно до этого рассказывал студентам про болиды, я понял сразу, что это болид. Тут же побежал на другую сторону корпуса, увидел, что действительно след идет издалека, здесь клубится. А потом выяснилось, что вот это вращение следа вызвано конвекцией. Оказывается, поскольку след от болида горячий, он начинает очень быстро подниматься вверх, как облако от ядерного взрыва. Когда он поднимается, он как бы зацепляется за воздух и поэтому закручивается. Поэтому у него внутрь идет подъем, а снаружи снижение высоты. И вот такой гриб растет. Только этот гриб не в виде какого-то столбика, а в виде длинного хвоста. Потом я побежал к ректору нашего университета, чтобы сказать, что это был болид. Действительно, я пришел не зря. Ректор сидел напуганный и думал, что взорвался военный самолет. Дело в том, что над Челябинском в то время часто летали бомбардировщики. Они тренировались для полетов в стиль. И мы подумали, что какой-то из этих самолетов взорвался. Но сообщений от Министерства по чрезвычайным ситуациям не было, и мы успокоились. Потом Потом стали думать, на какой все это высоте произошло и какого размера было тело. Поскольку ударная волна от болида шла примерно 2 минуты, это значит, что он на большой высоте пролетел. Это примерно 50-30 километров. Поэтому по силе ударной волны стало ясно, что объект был большого размера. Я сначала предположил, что размером с кухню, ну, примерно метров 5. Но оказалось, что я ошибся примерно в 4 раза по размеру. Народ бегал возбужденный по университету, и все кричали: наконец-то что-то интересное случилось, пойдемте на улицу смотреть. В общем, половина университета выбежала на улицу по размеру. Народ бегал возбужденный по университету, и все кричали: наконец-то что-то интересное случилось, пойдемте на улицу смотреть. В общем, половина университета выбежала на улицу. А потом все стали беспокоиться, а вдруг это радиоактивное облако. И все стали спрашивать друг друга, что же дальше делать, как быть. Во многих местах были выбиты стекла, народ бросил работу и побежал за детьми в детский садик. В общем, была небольшая паника в городе. Но потом постепенно все успокоилось, все поняли, что это был не ядерный взрыв, не катастрофа самолета, и все начали чинить город. Ущерб был около 1 миллиарда рублей, по оценкам администрации, именно из-за большого количества выбитых стекол. Вот, так скажем, примерно в 1/10 части зданий были выбиты стекла. А ударная волна была на самом деле слабенькая. Всего 1%, 1/100 атмосферы был скачок давления. Но этого хватило, чтобы разбить стекла в окнах. Если бы болид пролетел ближе к земле, тогда бы уже могли разрушиться легкие здания. Но, к счастью, он пролетел на больших высотах. Он начал светиться на высоте около 100 километров. На высоте около 30 километров была основная вспышка, самая яркая. Она была ярче солнца несколько раз. Но яркости не хватило, чтобы зажечь бумагу или древесину. Поэтому в этом смысле болид оказался пожаробезопасным. Еще во время полета этого болида некоторые люди слышали шипение. Это значит, что наш болид был электрофонным. Он проткнул дырку в ионосфере планеты, и потекли токи. В общем, началось излучение электромагнитных волн, радиоволн. И очень много было других интересных явлений. Но о них вы можете узнать в научной литературе и по различным видеозаписям. Спасибо за внимание.
Oh, and thank you. And thank you, Asteroid Day Russia, for producing that eyewitness report. And it just goes to show information like this is so important, particularly in the unlikely event that this could happen again. So it's really important to learn from this particular incident. And this is, again, why Asteroid Day is so important. What I'd like to introduce you to now are two very special people. And they're both co-founders of Asteroid Day itself. I'd like to introduce you to Greg Richters. Hello, Greg, the filmmaker, of course, from the film 51 Degrees North, and Danica Rimi from the B612 Foundation. So, Greg and Danica, hello, and over to you. The floor is yours.
Well, thank you so much, Debbie, and thank you so much, Gianluca and Jay and Max and Lembeck and all you guys making this possible today. Yes, it's great. I mean, this is so amazing that we now have Asteroid Day regional press conference. Isn't that amazing? We started this, the two of us, with Rusty Schweikart, the Apollo 9 astronaut, and Dr. Brian May. Gianluca, you okay? Are we good to go?
Yes, no, I'm okay.
Perfect. We started this 2 years ago, and within 2 years, it's really been snowballed into this, amazing day. June 30th is now this global day. It's now been recognized by United Nations thanks to Doran Pronario and the Association of Space Explorers, and also the work that DAC and B612 have done over the years. And it's incredible to have all of you guys, the regional coordinators. We've got 99 as of today. We've got Asteroid Cuba last night, and Asteroid Palestine this week, which is fantastic.
Fantastic.
So we are truly, truly global. And yesterday we presented here. We're in Luxembourg. That's why we can't be with you live in Wales. Otherwise, we would. We unveiled some of this year's activities with Deputy Prime Minister Etienne Schneider and some very interesting and special people, and also our sponsor OHB and SES. And Debbie, you were there. You were in London. It was great to have you. Danica.
Yep, and it was great to have everybody linked together by Cisco Systems. They linked us all worldwide through their telepresence centers, and then streamed it with what I hear was a crystal clear stream for everybody in the world. So part of what Greg and I are working on is figuring out who are the right partners that we can bring together to support the kind of work that will be valuable for the regional coordinators. We're excited about the Cisco partnership because they're going to be providing technology that allow us to link much more successfully in our regional coordinator calls, and I think there are going to be some other exciting things that Cisco will bring us. So on the Asteroid Day, our regional coordinators really are the heart of what's possible here in with Asteroid Day, and I guess we should put our hats on.
In case of Chelyabinsk, an asteroid hits us.
There's our Asteroid Day hats, and we're super excited that so many people have taken up the banner of Asteroid Day and are telling the story in their communities and countries around the world, and we're excited. So thank you.
I think one of the great things that we unveiled yesterday that is going to be, because everything that we do, Danica and I, sort of on a global level, is really to support all the work that all the regions can do and all the events can have access to. I mean, the idea is really about, as you guys know, about sharing the fascination of asteroids, the protection of the planet, but all the other fascinating aspects of what's all about asteroids with the world, and figure out partnerships that really help us tell the story in a way that everybody around the world has a chance of kind of tuning in, watching our coverage, like right now this lovely YouTube live stream, and through partnerships like SES, where we then have satellite coverage around the world, where people everywhere on the globe can then watch on Asteroid Day this incredible 24-hour live broadcast brought to you from Luxembourg and around the world. I think that's a way that we can really, truly raise awareness around the world, help the scientists, the engineers, help the work that you do, Debbie, help the work that you do, Gianluca, and work together on something truly beautiful, bringing the world together to basically solve one of the greatest problems of our planet, and doing that together as one species. And I think that's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful message. And thank you so much for putting this together today, and for making this possible that we can be here, say a few words, and yeah, anything else you want to add to that? I mean, it's just truly wonderful.
It is, and we're hoping everyone's going to have a happy Asteroid Day on June 30th.
And a hat for planetary protection, and duck and cover.
That is wonderful.
Greg and Danica, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. That's lovely, and it's just really great to be a part of International Asteroid Day. And of course, it's celebrated, or held, I should say, each year on the anniversary of the largest asteroid impact of Earth in recent history, and that, of course, is the Tunguska event, which took place in 1908 and destroyed about 1,000 square kilometers of Siberian forest. And I think for us, if that had happened over a city, be it in the UK, be it anywhere in Europe or anywhere around the world, then the impact effect would be absolutely devastating. And we're starting to see a little bit of that in relation to Chelyabinsk. So what we're doing in the UK, from a UK perspective, is very much picking up from where the task force report in 2000 left off. But we're looking at what initiatives took place previously, and rather than reinventing the wheel, then we're looking at how far the UK has come in relation to thinking about the hazard and responding to the hazard. And so we're taking it forward. And what we're going to be doing in London, in the UK, on Asteroid Day, is we're going to be at the Imperial College in London. And Gianluca, I've got some photographs so people can see exactly where we're going to be on June 30th. We're going to be in the Blackett department, which is a physics department at the Imperial College in London on Prince Consort Drive. And we're starting at 10 o'clock and we'll be there until about 6. And we're in lecture theatre 1. So yes, do please come and join us. That's a photograph. I had the pleasure of going to the Imperial College yesterday afternoon, and I was allowed to take some photographs so that people could at least see the facility and those wonderful recycling bins. Anyway, but at least people have an idea, a sense of where we're going to be based on June 30th. And there's the building itself. That's the physics department at Imperial College in London. And a big thank you to Dr. David Clements for his time yesterday and for making the facility available to us. The speakers, I have great pleasure in announcing the British astronaut, Dr. Helen Sharman. She was the first British female to visit the Russian Mir space station in 1991. She will be providing the introductory welcome to Asteroid Day on June 30th, and she'll also be chairing a discussion panel for us as well. My fellow speakers will include Professor Joanna Morgan, Max Alexander, who's here with me, and Lembit Opik, who is also joining us today. He'll be joining us on June the 30th. Jay Tate, of course, Professor Richard Crowther, Simon Green, Dr. Lewis Dartnell, of course, who's written a wonderful book of knowledge about how to survive an Armageddon event, and me. My name is Debbie Lewis, and I'll be talking about civil protection by word and reflection methods. So what I'm going to do now is we'll hand it over, I think. Lembit, I'm just going to move you slightly up the program because I'm conscious of your mobile phone. So Lembit, if I move you up the agenda, are you happy to sort of your involvement, certainly in respect to raising the matter in Parliament, and your role with the task force report, and how you think we can take this forward in the UK so that more people realise this hazard, is of serious interest, and the government should take steps to be more aware of the hazard. Over to you.
Yeah, thanks so much. First of all, sorry about all the background noises. It was very silent where I am here in Malta. Now I've got music, I've got people eating, all kinds of things going on. This is a bigger hazard than the asteroids. Take you a step back, though. In 1997, I met with Jay Tate in Shrewsbury, and he and what he was doing, and I realized it was what my grandfather, Ernst Öpik, the astronomer, had been doing in the early 20th century onwards. People thought he was crazy for saying that the Earth's history had been affected many times in the past by asteroid impacts and that it would happen again. It was just a question of time. I decided that it was time to act. So I, to cut a long story short, and with Jay Tate and other people's enormous help, convinced the government to do an investigation into the threat that cosmic bodies presented to the survival of the human race and the future of the Earth as a whole. I'm glad to say that in the year 2000, on a very busy day, because they were still awkward about releasing this report, it came out and said what Lembit and Jay Tate and the others have said is completely right. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. And they made 14 recommendations about what we should do about this. So far, half of one of those recommendations has been implemented, and even that was done in a slightly shaky way. My view is the threat is just as serious as ever. quite literally, we are now 17 years closer to the next impact. And this is a real serious scientific project, but it's got political importance too. You know as well as I do, if the public of the earth knew that the world was likely to end, or even one continent was to be incinerated, global law and order would come to an end. The actuarial risk is such that it doesn't happen often, but when it happens, it's very serious. And today, of course, not many years ago, as you've rightly pointed out, in your introductory comments, we had that airburst over Russia. My feeling is that the 30th of June is the chance to reignite the political commitment on this, to say, we all know this is going to happen sooner or later. What have you done? I'm delighted to be working with you and indeed on this international effort with people who understand the physics and we understand the consequences. And if I can be of help on the 30th of June and right up till then, it would be my honor to do that. My invitation to everybody who's listening is recognize this is fascinating science, but it's literally about Armageddon too. That's not a word from Hollywood. It's a word from physics and a word from space. I hope that we can actually stop the danger before it's too late. There's no points, absolutely no points of saying, I told you so, because there may be no one here to say it.
Absolutely. Lembit, that's great. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for your support. And I look forward to working with you, meeting you in due course, and certainly looking forward to hearing you again on June the 30th. Thank you very, very, very much. What I'd also like to do now at this point is, as Lembit has mentioned, Jay Tate, and the work that you were doing very much as part of that task force report, and the fact that here we are in the home of the National Near Earth Object Information Centre at the Space Guard Centre. So, Jay, please tell us more.
Well, as Lembit said, the end of the last century, actually 20 years ago this year, we established an organisation called Space Guard UK. The aim of that was to put to the establishment that there was an issue. Lembit, of course, was enormously influential in this because he managed to ramrod it through Parliament and get the task force established. And to be quite frank with you, we thought at the time that was basically job done. The report made recommendations that were crystal clear, not only clear, but well justified, basically saying that this was an issue that required substantial work and funding. As Lembit said, sadly, of course, in the intervening years, the square root of nothing has actually happened. So I think one of the lessons we have to learn from that is that words are fun, but they don't mean anything until concrete's poured and glass is cut. Certainly in the UK, that's been the case. The words are good, the actions are virtually zero. And one has to say that other than the United States, that situation pertains as well. One of the recommendations in the task force report was the establishment of a Near Earth Objects Information Centre to provide timely, accurate, easy to understand information for the public, the media, and the decision makers. The middle one of those is actually quite important. The media, we get these rashes of rather unfortunate reports, inaccurate, sensationalist, which do no good to anybody because they reduce the whole subject to the level of farce. And one thing that we're very keen to do up here now that we've taken over that role of the NEO, National Near Earth Object Information Centre, is to actually be able to temper the reports that are given to the public to make them accurate, timely, and so on. But there's an awful lot more to this. What many people don't realise is that actually a lot of the work that's done in this field is actually done by the amateur astronomy community. Dealing with the issue is a three-step process. The first step is to detect potentially dangerous objects. And at the moment, anyway, that's really the role of the large surveys, basically funded by the United States. They do the detection and the finding, but it's the second stage in the process, working out how big the thing is, where it's going, what it's made of. That characterization is very much the role of the amateur astronomer. And I think we need to reflect on that, because the amateurs are doing a cracking good job, and they deserve our thanks, and perhaps just a little bit of support might not come amiss either. The third step in the game, which is to make any potential problem go away, mitigation, that again is really the role of government. But that centre bit, where the amateurs come into it, absolutely essential. Now, there is another aspect to this, and I touched on it at the beginning, is the education side of it. And that's not education with a big E. This is education with a little e. Information, informing people. What is the real problem? They've seen the movies. Is this real? To get that message across is actually quite difficult. To do it in a measured, unsensational way, but in an interesting way that people are willing to listen to. That's what we've been working on here for the last 15 years. And I like to think we do it reasonably well. But unless the public understands that there is a real problem, the politicians aren't going to do anything about it. And let's be quite clear, it's the politicians who hold the purse strings. Unless there is a groundswell of public opinion to say, listen, matey, I want something done about this, it's not going to happen. And I fear that this is a subject that is rife with sensationalism, exaggeration, a good amount of humour. When I started this game 20 years ago, we were down there with little green men and flying saucers. My apologies to anybody who believes in little green men and flying saucers. But I mean, that's where we were. Now we're in the realm of real, proper science, provable, repeatable. But the public still haven't got the message. They still think it's either, oh, nothing we need to worry about because the Americans have got it all sorted out, or it's, you know, along with Godzilla and Bruce Willis. So all I would say is that we need to educate the public and the media to get the message across. And having said that, I'll shut up.
Lovely. Thank you, Jay. Absolutely. And again, that's, you know, that's another reason that Asteroid Day is so important. So it is about raising the awareness. It is about explaining the hazard and educating, providing an education outreach service to the public. And very much, you know, we've had witness events such as Chelyabinsk. And of course, you know, there is evidence on the Earth's surface of impact craters. And there's a particularly large one that I would just like to sort of draw attention to now, because we talk about the asteroid 65,000 years ago that killed off the dinosaurs. And here is a gentleman who has been part of the exciting expedition down to, of course, the Chicxulub crater rim and has taken some photographs. So, Max, I'm going to hand over to you to talk about this very, well, I was very excited by the expedition. So please tell us more.
Okay. Well, hello everyone. Thank you very much, Debbie. That's fantastic. So, so I went to Mexico, to the Gulf of Mexico in May last year to photograph the scientific drilling of the Chicxulub impact crater. And there's a picture on the screen there, an illustration of the Yucatan Peninsula and where the drill site is. And you can also see the curve there is the outer rim of the impact crater. So that's about 180 kilometers across and 90 kilometers from ground zero, from where the asteroid hit 65 million years ago. So I went out there on behalf of the B612 Foundation, and with generous support from them. And thank you very much, Danica, for providing that sponsorship for me to go out there. So basically, I was there, as I said, to photograph the drilling of the impact crater. It's an offshore oil rig, about 17 kilometers offshore, a British and an American expedition. So I flew into Cancun. We're going to see some photographs, some of my photographs come up. I won't talk specifically about each one, but just to give you a flavor of the photographs. So I drove from Cancun to Merida. So it's about 200 kilometers, which when I did the drive, it kind of gave me an idea of how big that impact crater is, 180 kilometers across. Of course, you can't see the impact crater today, and it's like the case for most of the impact craters on the Earth. They're mostly because of the Earth's geological forces. Most of them have been covered up and weathered through weathering and tectonic plate action and so on. But it was about 20, the crater is about 20 kilometers below the ground, and as I said, about 180 kilometers across. So the asteroid that hit Chicxulub was about 10 kilometers across, so about 500 times the size of the Chicxulub impact crater asteroid. So that sounds like a lot, but in astronomical terms, it's not a big step because you can get asteroids a lot bigger than that. So the first set of pictures here are at Chicxulub, which was ground zero for the impact. I kind of looked for different elements. I like the pelicans, which were diving for fish. I said they kind of reminded me of pterodactyls, and of course dinosaurs, birds evolved from dinosaurs. So I thought that was an interesting thing. So I just wanted to convey some of the interest of this place. Perhaps look for some drama in the sky, and there was the impact created mayhem on the Earth, of course, with earthquakes and tsunamis and volcanic eruptions. But the biggest effect was a cloud of dust which covered the Earth, and that created like a nuclear winter effect, and that's what wiped out 75% of life on the Earth, as well as all the dinosaurs, of course. So from there, the next day I went to these cenotes, which is a Spanish word for sinkholes. So these sinkholes are depressions in the ground, just like you see on the news now about some sinkhole appearing in Manchester or wherever it is. So they actually trace out the southern boundary, the outer ring of the crater. So it's a way of defining the edge of the crater. So I also went to, there's a photograph here of these people going for a swim and a dive. I actually went for a swim myself while I was waiting for the light to change, so it's a fun thing to do. So also went to the Museum in Merida, and there's a picture on the screen here. So in the sample here, in this rock sample, there's a trace of iridium in the rock, and that's present all around the world. So you can see that. So it's a smoke. Iridium comes directly from the asteroid that hit, and it's what's called the KT boundary, and it defines. You can clearly see that at that point there was a global event from that impact. So the last part of the trip was going out to the drilling platform. It's about an hour and a half's boat trip out there. You can see on the right there's a hoist that takes you up to the platform, and just down on the right hand side you've got the three pillars which are sitting on the seabed. But on the right there is that drilling. It's an oil rig. It's an oil drilling platform basically. So they're taking core samples, drilling down 1,300 meters down into what's called the inner peak ring of the crater. Of course, it's just like any crater that you see on the Moon or Mars or other solar system bodies. So it's more shots of this is when I'm on that hoist going over. You can look down into the. And these are oil drillers, and of course the price of oil's dropped, so that gave the academics a chance it was more cost effective for them to do this. So that's the reason why they're doing that in the last year. So they take out these core samples, and there were two key scientists. There's Imperial College in London, Joanna Morgan, who's going to be involved in Asteroid Day on June 30th, and also Sean Culloch from the University of Texas at Austin. So they're the two lead scientists, and and they were on board actually seeing these cores. They're just like cores that you get from Antarctica, for the ice cores. And you can see here there's one of the drilling bits. They're actually diamond-tipped drill bits which drill down into the crater. Their target, I think, was 1,500 meters, and they made it down to 1,500 meters. So that it was a very, very successful expedition. And they're already working on the science. The science is coming out. There's a lot of media about it. The BBC ran my pictures in Astronomy magazine, but just generally there's their models of the morphology of the crater and the events that happened at that time are clearly being shown now, and also how life came back, how life was re-established. That's a fundamental thing that they're doing. So just finishing off here, there's more photographs of some of the drilling cores and some of the samples. There's three main categories. I won't go into them now, but some of these are real core samples. These are real samples from that impact crater. And just the last thing to say was that I've been photographing Tim Peake, the British astronaut, for the last couple of years with him training, and I was in direct contact with him when he was on the space station. So I asked Tim if he'd take a photograph of the impact of the Yucatan Peninsula, and he very kindly obliged to take that photograph. So it should be coming up in a few minutes, so in a few seconds. So.
Keep talking.
There you go. Okay, so here we go. Here's this picture from Tim, and so the impact's ground zero is smack in the middle of that picture. And I think that, to me, that's a really evocative photograph. You can imagine in that photograph an asteroid coming in and hitting that part of the Earth. The Yucatan Peninsula didn't exist as it does today, but it gives you a sense of what it was like 65 million years ago.
Exactly. Max, they're wonderful pictures, and thank you so much for sharing.
Okay. I'm not really a scientist, but I can get drawn into some of the science.
But indeed, yes, neither am I. But it's a fascinating subject, and especially to have the opportunity to visit, you know, and going to where the crater is, and going to the Yucatan Peninsula. Then I think that's just absolutely phenomenal. I think that's fantastic. So thank you so much for sharing, well, for being able to go. And for sharing your pictures and your experiences with you. And again, it sort of just goes to show that, I mean, you mentioned during your piece that 75% of the animal population at the time, you know, were decimated, completely destroyed as a result of that, which would indicate to me that 25% survived. So therefore, you know, it is possible then, you know, with modern technology, to ascertain where the hazards are. And it's the only natural hazard, of course, that can be detected in advance and can be mitigated against. So therefore, you know, even more reason why more work needs to be done in this particular field. And certainly in relation to the UK, one of the things for us that I think would be, is a huge missing at the moment, and where perhaps, you know, it would be beneficial if the hazard was placed on the UK's National Risk Register and it was formally risk assessed. And then I think we would have the mandate from that in order to start to warn, inform and advise the public, which was an issue that you raised. And again, particularly in relation to Chelyabinsk type events, of which, you know, we are more likely to have more events akin to Chelyabinsk. And in order to save the amount of injuries from people who just went to look out of the window and out into the street, that really is being able to sort of advise people that that's not really the best place to be. But at the moment, you know, we are unable to do that. And so one of the real actions I think that come out from Asteroid Day would be very much in terms of the UK perspective, that the risk is formally assessed. And so really, what I wanted to be able to sort of say, Gianluca, do we have any other of my regional coordinators around the world who would like to speak about their events on Asteroid Day?
Well, I don't have any other coordinators here, but I know that they are really doing a lot, and these are very, very exciting weeks because we have a very special mailing list connecting us, and we are sharing ideas. And I want to say that we were really excited to listen to the press conference that Greg and the other partners did yesterday. So truly beautiful. And if I can say this, one of the things I love more of Asteroid Day is that it made possible to all these great people to join together and share their dream to bring to the community, to the world, the culture of asteroids in every meaning. This is for me a truly important factor.
Can I add to that, Giancarlo? As the MP who took the risk with my credibility in raising this issue in British Parliament, I always knew we had the facts. We just didn't have the political support. Why? Because politicians gamble. They gamble, this is not going to happen on their watch. It's going to happen on someone's watch. And what you said is 100% right. It's great that so many people are watching this today. It's even greater if we can cause the politicians to recognize this isn't a risk in terms of politics. It's a risk in terms of survival. And the difference between us and the dinosaurs is we can do something about it. But we are being prehistoric in terms of politics if we don't recognize, number one, that we might just save the planet, and number two, that the science that comes with this can open people's imaginations in the same way that Apollo created a generation of visionaries in physics and in science. We benefit from that every single day of our lives.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Do you mind if I throw in the word here?
Of course, great.
I just wanted to echo everything you guys have been saying, and also what Gianluca just was saying about the regional coordinators. I mean, you know, Gianluca, you're technically the first coordinator with Italy last year, which has been fantastic. And you know, we sort of tried this idea of you you really ran it, and you know, we tried to support you as much as possible on the day, and you did a fantastic job. And I think really from that experience with working with you last year so successfully across Asteroid Day Italy, we realized that if we can do something like that in other regions around the world on a similar level and similar scale, that would really change, not just in places like the UK or Italy, but in places like Palestine and places like Afghanistan. You know, if we can show the world that other places that might have other much more serious issues to deal with right now, like Haiti, right, which have Asteroid Day coordinators, that we can really tell the story of this is a problem that people care about, that the public cares about, that the world should care about, and I think that will also translate into political support, because once we show that the public cares about it and the entire world cares about it, I think it'll be a lot easier for politicians to make decisions in putting more funds to this, helping the amateur communities, the other communities around the world to really deal with this issue on a multitude of levels. And as of this stage, we've got 165 coordinators in 99 regions, and we are looking for expanding that to 120 regions before Asteroid Day. So I think, and we started that, Gianluca, when did we start this? In November, we started rolling this out. So 4 months, or maybe October, 4 months, and we've got 99 regions and something like 60 coordinators. It's crazy, because like places like Brazil have 6 coordinators. I'm just going to point that out. So I mean, it's fantastic, and really thanks to the volunteer community and to Gianluca, Debbie, to everybody, Jay, everybody here, everybody who's watching, and you guys rock and roll. You guys rock.
You too, and Danica as well.
Greg, thank you. And I think one of the key points really, and especially to Gianluca, because of course for Asteroid Day last year, we were involved with the virtual telescope. And I think it would be really lovely if you could talk about the virtual telescope today for our press conference audience. I think that would be wonderful.
Thank you very much, Debbie. Once again, let me say I'm very happy to be here to share this big dream with all of you. Having you with this, inside this project, inside this movement, is for me truly a wonderful experience. And I must say that at Virtual Telescope, asteroids have been always a target of interest for sharing with the public, because at the Virtual Telescope we used to share in real time what happens in the sky. And as we know very well, asteroids are approaching us from time to time, and while people is fearing strange things out there because there are just no there is a lack of good information about asteroids. This is why I truly welcome Asteroid Day. So people are often worried about the wrong problem, and sharing those close approaching asteroids through the virtual telescope is a very nice and precious occasion for us to try to address the problem to the right place. And this is why I joined Asteroid Day since the very first edition, when it started now 3 years ago, basically. So it was for me, 3 editions. We are going to celebrate the 3rd one this year. And last year has been for me fantastic to work as a national coordinator for Italy. It was quite an experiment, and Greg really understood how important was this possibility to check what will happen in a given country if you try to have someone there representing the movement. And in Italy, it was truly a huge success. And I already have many other people here in Italy waiting for us to do Asteroid Day again. And thank you to the most important press agency in Italy, that is ANSA, the scientific and technological people working on their team, because they supported the virtual telescope every time, and Asteroid Day Italia as well. And right now, we are also seen live on their website. So for me, this is also important to see how the important media are just understanding the work we are doing. And of course, this year, we will offer several activities, both local as the other wonderful regional coordinators, but we will also offer global activities, because as we did together, Debbie, by the way, last year, we will share some observing sessions as well as some great guests, their experience, both science and personal feeling on asteroids, and it turned out to be fantastic. So this year as well, Virtual Telescope is ready to support at the best possible level Asteroid Day mission, and for me, it's such a big privilege to be part of this. So once again, I want to thank Greg and all the co-founders of Asteroid Day and all the people working and the friends I was able to meet, like Jay in Wales, where he really created something unique. I want to say that I'm myself, while I am a professional astronomer working on asteroids, thanks to Asteroid Day, I'm discovering something I didn't know. So it is enriching myself. And I believe that as me, a lot of people out there is truly enriching themselves through Asteroid Day experience. So keep up this great work, and thanks for this opportunity, and stay tuned, because the 30th of June is not far and it is coming soon. Thank you.
Indeed, Gianluca, thank you very much. And I think, on the subject of our regional coordinators that, we have heard so much about, then, Gianluca, I'm wondering if you could please share the very special message, and we'll be able to introduce some of our regional coordinators during this press conference.
Absolutely. It is a pleasure to share greetings and welcome on board of Asteroid Day from many of our regional coordinators. Going to share this and enjoy this wonderful video.
Join us for Asteroid Day on June 30th.
I've got it again. Oh, no, blink, close your eyes.
Are we still on air?
I believe so, yes.
For Asteroid Day on June the 30th.
Participă la ziua asteroidului.
Pomocí am 30 iunie sunt asteroidale.
הצטרפו אלינו ליום האסטרואיד ב-30 ביוני.
Il 30 giugno partecipa all'Asteroid Day.
Uniros a nosotros en el próximo Asteroid Day de 2017.
Kom zum Asteroidentag am 30. Juni.
Kom og vær med. Det er Stødernes dag den 30. juni.
Annual Asteroid Day
Ju que tranjoinha.
Participe do Asteroid Day, Dia do Asteroide, em 30 de junho.
Kommt zum Asteroidentag am 30. Juni.
انضم إلى اليوم العالمي للكويكبات 30 من يونيو.
Acompáñanos el 30 de junio para Asteroid Day.
Mach mit beim Asteroidentag am 30. Juni.
Asteroide, el 30 de junio.
参加小行星日就在6月30日.
د جون په 10مه نیټه د Asteroid نړیوال ورځ باندې موږ سره یو ځای شئ.
El 30 de junio, únete al Día del Asteroide.
Únanse al Día del Asteroide, este 30 de junio, en Guatemala.
Μοτάκι στο Ρωσίου να ακολουθήστε μας την Παγκόσμια ημέρα αστεροειδών στις 30 Ιούνιου από την Ελλάδα.
Komm zum Asteroidentag am 30. Juni.
Únanse al Día del Asteroide el 30 de junio.
Ελάτε να γιορτάσουμε μαζί την Παγκόσμια ημέρα αστεροειδών στην Κύπρο στις 30 Ιουνίου.
A Ghana Planetarium 30 June, run an asteroid.
Join us at Ghana Planetarium on the 30th of June for Asteroid Day.
Asteroid on the 30th of June at Ghana Planetarium.
Дружите се манифестации дан астероида 30 юни.
नमस्कार, म सुशील भट्टराई काठमाडौँ नेपालबाट इस्वी सम्मत 2017 जुन 30 मा नेपालबाट पनि एस्ट्रोइड डे मनाइदैछ। यसको लागि म सम्पूर्ण नेपालीहरूलाई एस्ट्रोइड डे मनाउनका लागि आह्वान गर्न चाहन्छु।
Hi fellow Kiwis, join us for Asteroid Day on Friday the 30th of June 2017.
30 Haziran'da gerçekleştirilecek olan Asteroid gününe katılımınızı bekliyoruz.
30 Eylül Bey'naltı Asteroid gününde bize koşulun.
اليوم العالمي للنيازك 2017 الإمارات العربية المتحدة.
Hola, desde Venezuela los invito a celebrar el Día del Asteroide 30 de junio.
That's great, lovely. Well, I do hope that you are all able to join us on Friday, the June 30th for Asteroid Day. And if you have any questions, then we're happy to answer them, as that ultimately sort of concludes our press conference. So if you do have any questions, then we'd be more than happy to answer them.
Well, Debbie, I actually collected a few questions I received from the Italian press, and I would like to share a couple of questions with you and the other friends, if you don't mind.
Of course.
But I must say that the most frequent question, because I saw that different people asked the same, that is, what you will do if we will ever discover the killer asteroid? How you will tell to the people that something that bad is going to happen?
Well, that is yeah, Lembit, over to you.
I can give you a one-sentence answer. That's why I ask you was still on air. That's exactly what I wanted to say. In my belief, you can't keep something like that a secret. Ultimately, enough people will know that at least one good soul will say we have to share this. So you know what? Yeah. That's exactly why we do this. I don't want to die in ignorance. I don't want the planet Earth to die in ignorance, at least life on it. I think that we have a moral imperative to find out the information. I think there are enough few good men and women to share that information when we get it. And that's what we need to know early enough to make a difference.
Jay, do you want to come in?
Just a very quick word. Hopefully, this is a very short-term problem.
Exactly.
We've got the technology to find them, track them, and with programs like NEO Shield 1 and 2, we've got the ability to make the problem go away. So hopefully the question of what we do other than make it go away is a very short-term one.
Yes. I have another question as well. This is a funny one, I think, because a couple of people asked how the asteroid impact risk affects your daily life. Thinking of this, because they say you're working on this topic and you should be thinking about it more often than other people. So how this thought affects your daily life?
I'll tell you how it affects my life. People used to think I was crazy and said, we were crazy for not doing anything about it. Has it affected my life? I've got to assume we're going to make a difference. Otherwise, I'll run up a very big debt, live in a pub, and wait for the end of the world. quite seriously, you know, if we're actually just going to leave the world to destroy itself, or at least the cosmos to get rid of us, that's not a cool thing to do. And I actually do talk about this, not every day, but most days.
I'm going to say I think about this subject pretty much most days, that I would say, and I think in terms of you know, a risk assessment for the hazard, I mean, it's very complex, the nature of the hazard, because yes, we see incidents like Tony Vince, and of course we've got the smaller objects, which of course there are much more of, much more hard to detect, and so therefore, you know, as a result, you know, the risk is sort of twofold. You know, yes, the larger ones that, you know, they can see and observe and determine how much warning time that we do have. Then, of course, there's the smaller ones where there is no warning time at all. I was in a conversation yesterday, and it's very much like the sort of what happened in relation to the Thames Barrier, that the infrequency of the hazard, you know, means that we are going to be unprepared for it. But if we prepare for, say, relatively worst case scenario, then when the time comes, we have, you know, methods in place in order to respond. And so for me, you know, looking forward, you know, looking at the way that the Thames Barrier was introduced, I think if we can sort of introduce, you know, mitigation methods and civil protection arrangements, you know, because it's more than just planetary defence, it's civil protection as well, in the same way that the Thames Barrier was introduced, then I think, you know, we might be starting to make some progress.
Can I add one more thing, which is this. Something behind me in that sky behind me here in Malta is going to get us. And if you don't want to do anything about it, my advice is don't have children, because they'll have children, and they'll have children, and somebody in the end will suffer as a result of us ignoring a clear and present danger.
Yes.
Yeah, it's actually a problem talked about virtually every day. It's something the public bring up all the time. And the bottom line is that, do I lose sleep over it? No. Do I expect it to happen in my lifetime? Hopefully not. Do I expect it to happen in the lifetime of my grandchildren? I think it's quite likely. Not a globally threatening event, but certainly something big enough to take out a large city or a small country. So it's back to the old three bywords: rare, devastating, but avoidable.
Yeah.
And that's what makes this natural hazard completely different to any of the others. Earthquakes happen all the time. A few people die. You can't do anything about it. Same with volcanoes, tsunami. This one, well, it's not likely to happen in my lifetime. But if it does, well, you can expect casualty and damage levels way above anything we've experienced in recorded history. But unlike all the other problems, we have the technology, and I would say we have the technology right now to make the whole thing go away. I don't have much time for these people who say, oh, well, we might have the technology in 10, 20, 30 years. I disagree. We've got the technology right now. And even the little details that we perhaps have to iron out, well, if we had the same sort of impetus as the American space program in the 60s, that would be solved in a heartbeat. So people ask me,
Gianluca, can I throw something in there? I totally agree. I mean, I think, you know, we have to always be a bit careful, you know, at least from sort of the Asteroid Day kind of global angle, we are always careful not painting the dark picture. I think, you know, what Jay, how you sort of ended this makes sense. You know, it's something that we can totally solve with our current technology, and if we worked together, if we really wanted to solve it. I guess I actually have a question to you guys, and also not just you guys participating here, but also, you know, I'm getting messages from, you know, one of the really, actually, congrats, Guy Wells. You know, he's a really great amateur asteroid hunter from London, doing a great job. There's so many amazing amateurs doing so much, you know, really important work that is kind of you know, not really being picked up a lot of the times by the media, and unless obviously we find something. But I think the question I have to you guys, everybody listening, everybody who's going to see this video, and this is not a question, you know, to be answered today, is, but, you know, how can we with Asteroid Day Global really, and Asteroid Day Regional, how can we, you know, not maybe for this June 30th, but kind of going forward, how can we really help you guys the most effective way, in a way that you can really, you know, and I'm talking about the scientists, the engineers, the people looking up in the sky every night through their telescopes and tracking these objects, you know, doing the characterization work, you know, the folks sitting, you know, sitting in the labs, you know, the folks sitting in front of the computers doing all the calculations, the models, all you guys, how can we really help you? And I mean, you know, we're doing everything here we can, but obviously if you have any ideas or anything that you think we can be improving, it's all about learning, and it's all about, you know, kind of solving this together. You know, send an email to info@asteroidday.org. You know, Gianluca, you know, you guys, if you have anything, you know, always, I think it's always important to really see, you know, how can we help the most effective way of, you know, lending a voice to the hard-working men and women who are dedicating themselves to this, who, you know, in the past might have looked a bit like, you know, what the heck were they doing? You know, why are they wasting their time with this? And I think it's, you know, that's part of what we're trying to do is, you know, you guys are rock stars, and you guys are not getting enough attention, and you guys are not getting kind of the serious attention. You know, maybe, yeah, okay, Armageddon again. No, you guys need to get the serious attention that other scientists are getting, because this is so absolutely critically important. And like you said, Jay, you know, actually it does keep me up at night ever since you and I met. You know, doing the interview for my film 51 Degrees North. I'm plugging it because it's available for free to anybody who wants to watch it. You know, so if you guys have any ideas, any input, you know, please feel free, because we're doing this, you know, for you guys. We're not doing this for fun. We're not doing this because we have nothing else to do. You know, we're doing this because we really want to help you guys, you know, move forward and, you know, give you the tools, give you the resources so you can really do your work. That's at the end of the day, really, I see our job.
Shining a light on the science and technologists and engineers who are doing this work. So
yeah, scientists rock.
That's right. Keep looking to the sky, and we'll be raising awareness that you're looking, and we want you to find them.
And if you're 6 years old or 5 years old right now, or maybe 10, 12, and you don't know what to do in the future, this is an important field. And one day, you know, somebody in this field will be potentially the person to save the Earth, you know, actually for real. You know, maybe not in the Bruce Willis kind of style with the awesome Aerosmith music in the background and all that. But, you know, I'm serious, you know, we need you know, the rock stars. We're looking for the rock stars of the future, and trying to help them, you know, get nurtured and get inspired. So thank you, Gianluca. Thank you, everybody here, you know, for all the work that you do every day. Everybody listening, you guys know who you are. You are amazing. You are rock stars. Scientists rock. You know, you guys are absolutely awesome. Thank you so much for everything you guys are doing.
Thanks to you, Greg, Danica, and everyone involved.
Gianluca, do we have any more questions that we need to answer?
Yes, I have another one, and I think that Greg has to answer back again, because the question is, when you started Asteroid Day, did you think it could be such a big movement today?
Well, you know, sure, yeah, of course. It was like, yeah, of course, no-brainer, you know. No, actually, I think, you know, when we started this, I mean, you know, it was thanks to, you know, some very intelligent, smart people, and some, you know, I mean, obviously Brian, Rusty, you know, and you know, Hawking, who gave the inspiration as well. And, you know, I don't think we thought that. You know,
I think we just had the audacious hope that we could inspire a global conversation about asteroids. I mean, they're interesting in so many ways for us from a science perspective, and give us an opportunity to look into the sky. And yes, they are a threat, and yes, they have some, you know, potential uses for the future. And so I think, you know, we just looked at each other and said, let's do it. Well, let's see what we can do.
I think it's the mentality. You know, sometimes you just have to be a little bit crazy.
You're great. Both of you are great, really. Thank you. Well, these were the questions I collected, Debbie. So I have no more questions, but let me say this myself. I was extremely happy to run this together, also because there is a strong interest in Italy, and later this season we will organize a press conference in Italy. I'm working on this, and I would like to have some of you as guests, because I really discovered that this movement is growing quite significantly here in Italy. So I'm happy because it means that you really had a great vision, and I'm proud to do a small part on this, but you really had such a great vision, and I wanted to congratulate this right now.
Gianluca, thank you so very much. Thank you so much for hosting our press conference today. And of course,
my pleasure.
Yes, be absolutely more than happy. That's if you're referring to me, of course, you know. But anyway, but we would be more than happy, of course, to participate in your press conference. You know, along the lines that you have supported us today. So we look forward to seeing you again virtually.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And I love Italian.
And happy Asteroid Day.
Happy Asteroid Day to everyone.
Thank you. And thank you very much for joining us today.
It was a pleasure. Thank you, Debbie, for organizing this. And it was a pleasure for me to host this wonderful meeting with great people. I want to thank Alexander. I want to thank also Jay, also everyone who joined and still online. And let me say that you are wonderful people, and I'm sure this will make a huge difference to succeeding bringing the cause of Asteroid Day to the community. Keep up this unique work, friends. You are unique, you rock, as we say.
Gianluca, thank you very much. There's nothing I can say really to beat that. So I would just sort of thank very much Jay for the pleasure of his company today, and to thank him for hosting you know, us here in Wales, and thank you to Max, and thank you to Lembicht, who is in Malta, who's able to join us from Malta. So thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing you all on Asteroid Day on June the 30th.
Thank you. See you, everyone.